Welcome to Grow Overload, and let's talk a little bit about NVIDIA CES keynote, which was interesting to watch. I will say that. Jensen came out in a coat and a jacket, and then had a shield that he had on there. If you guys haven't seen it, it's not worth me explaining it. It's more worth it if you guys go and check it out and post what you think of it afterwards. But it was pretty interesting overall. A lot of AI stuff, but I'm not really here for all of that. I get it was longer than, I kind of give you an hour from your start point. That's kind of how long these keynotes should be. I went on longer than that. I did, tune in for the rest of it later on, but I only get an hour at a time, and wish it was more condensed. But anyways, let's get into what everyone is interested in, or anyone that's not in that wants to hear AI 5 million times in a presentation, which is the desktop graphics cards from NVIDIA. They also did some laptop announcements as well, but let's focus on the desktop side of things. The 5070, the 5070 Ti, 5080, and that 5090 have all been announced for prices that were surprising to me. Many that, if you've watched this channel before, know that I've said the 5090 is going to be around $2,500 is my take on that. And it came in at $2,000. Now, will that price be stable the whole entire release? We'll see. We'll see where this is and where scalpers go to. And the interesting part of this is the 5080 is only going to be $1,000. I thought that was going to come in at the $1,700 there. Just Nvidia could demand that price, which either Nvidia changed something, with this whole release, or they wanted to play games with the AMD. But I really don't understand why there's such a huge jump in price between the two, and why they kept the 5080 in the 4080 price slot, or right around there, and, rather than increase it. I'm actually surprised Nvidia did this. Maybe they're trying to actually be more market segmentation or something. I have some theories, but we'll see as reviews come out, and maybe I'll refine those and leave those out. Now you have the 4070 Ti, which is what, 750, I think, and then 550 for the 5070, which Nvidia comes out and they claim that the 5070 equals the 4090 in performance. Now, these are really wow claims, right? They're just like, whoa, right? We're going to wait till reviews of all this. Now, you go through it, and other people have done videos on this whole performance asterisk part, and go check them out because I could do it too. But their claims are, with the DLSS, with, DLSS 4 on some things, with their multi-frame generation, so you're generating multiple frames per that same frame in DLSS that it was before, that just one frame. So if you get multi-frames over one, of course you're going to have more frames, and that's how they're getting the performance. Now, on some of their stuff, I was watching, I think it was Jay's 2 Cents. He did a video on his channel, and they, pointed out here, if you start looking at it and you start looking into those footnotes, which you gotta, these companies are so deceptive these days. You got to look at footnotes just to get an understanding of what actually is going on, because they can't just release their product based upon it that it's a better product. They have to throw everything in the kitchen sink at us to wow us of this is a way better product than what it actually is. And that's one thing you always got to maintain and keep track of. But they had Far Cry 6 on there. Now, Far Cry 6, I don't believe has DLSS. At least they didn't run it on there. And if you look at that, you're seeing about, I'd say 20 to 30% gain on each of those cards over their predecessor 40 series cards, which, if that's going to hold up across the board, should be a nice boost. Hopefully it's more close to that 30%. Back in the day, we had a lot more percentage gain gen over gen. But this is one thing where you just got to pay attention to the performance. the multi-frame gen, I will be interested. Leave in the comments if that's something that you are interested in. DLSS 4 with that multiple frame gen. It looks like there's going to be some of that coming, not to the multi-frame gen, but some of the benefits of DLSS 4 coming to older cards. And they claim that the only reason why the multiple frame gen is because it needs some of their other tech that's on the cards today that aren't there before. So I'm more of a quality person when I know I'm in the minority. I think Hardware Unboxed did a poll at one point, and we'll just take that poll at its rough numbers, where it's 75-25. You're 75% of people are more about that frames per second, and there's 25% of us that like the quality and like to push the quality, of the game over it. So I get it, but I would like to see a little bit more of the increase of quality, increase of games of what they're capable of, and we'll see how that goes over time if that's going to be a focus. Now, one thing that NVIDIA mentioned in there, and I'm sure everyone has this, right, is a $10,000 PC, right, gaming PC, entertainment center, right? I wish I had something like that. I really do. Uh, if I had the money to spend on that, it'd be awesome. I don't, but I don't have this. I can't just buy a 5090 for $2,000 and throw it into my $10,000 entertainment PC center, right? So that was out there. So oh, we'll all see when the reviews come out. January 30th is going to be the launch date for the 5090 and 5080, so get ready for that. February for the 70 series class be out here. And a couple comments here on the AMD side of things. Did AMD get scared off just because they heard some rumors of what NVIDIA was doing with this, with their claims of being a 5070 equal to a 5090, and they said that 9070, we're going to have to pull that from announcing it during our CES keynote, because if that's true, it's going to screw up our launch. We're gonna have to really drop the price of these cars and everything else, and maybe that's what AMD was doing or thinking here. They had the 9070. Where's that going to sit? This is one of those things where launching can be interesting depending upon how somebody comes across with performance. Now, my only hope is when AMD actually comes up with their numbers, they're not going to do some stuff with this. They're going to give the performance of their cards without any FSR on there, anything to show off how powerful it could be with these. But let's just do a baseline. This is how much you gain over the old cars, and let's go from there. I'm hoping they do something like that. But this does kind of show too with that 5070 for, what is it, 550, I think it was, that maybe here we're going to see a little bit of, whoops, I'm clicking on things here because I wanted to see all the specs and stuff if they had the price there. But the Intel GPU, even though it has its problems, right? There's some stuff out here. Hardware Canucks did, which they did a good job with that testing. Go check them out with lower end CPUs and that or older CPUs, I should say, and the B550 GPU. And where that price is getting a little bit higher here, where that initial 250 may have kept NVIDIA in that 70 class a little bit lower than what they expected, or they're just trying to push AMD into a spot of having them to make a tough decision with their pricing where they need to be. These are some interesting aspects to this, and if the 9070 can compete with the 5070, and let's say maybe even exceed it, right? Maybe get more closer to that 5070 Ti range. We'll see where all these line out in a little bit. And AMD is able to price that. Let's say it's the Ti versus the 9070 XT, and then we get that in about a $500 range. I think AMD will have a winner, but NVIDIA here made it hard, I think, on AMD, and hopefully AMD comes out and does the right thing. I am still shocked at the pricing of this. I did think they go a little bit higher with the 5090, especially the 5080 there. Now, your memory configuration here is 32 gigs on the 5090, and then 16 for the 5080 and 5070 Ti. That 5070 though, 550, and it's only 12 gig buffer, right? They came out and they said they had some compression tech with AI compression stuff, and I don't know if that is just automatic or that that needs to be uh, that's automatically done, or is that depending upon if you have DLSS enabled? If that's DLSS enabled, well, the off in the offside where you don't have DLSS enabled, still could overrun the buffer depending upon what games you're doing. We are seeing some games with that VRAM buffer get much bigger over time, and that's what happens, right? More coding, more games, bigger games, everything else. And so we'll see where this is, but man, this was an interesting announcement overall, right? You have the Jensen up there with a, you know, shield and his jacket and everything else there. Then you have the wow claims trying to wow everyone that you are getting a 5070 for 550. That's 4090 performance with, and basically how he said it is just 59 performance in the 5070 and just kept on going. He didn't say any asterisks, anything else that wasn't shown and everything. And then when you get to the performance and you're starting to look at it on the site, you're like, well, why are you saying this? And some outline just claims here, and NVIDIA can pull this off, right? No other company, AMD couldn't do this, Intel can't do this, NVIDIA can, because they have this stranglehold of what they've been able to do in the marketplace where no one else has been able to accomplish that. And so until somebody else is able to compete and able to try to take NVIDIA down a notch, they can say pretty much whatever they want and they will get away with it. And the only thing that we have to hold them accountable is the reviewers, and hopefully the reviewers here will get that out. But they announced that, what is it, 1.5 tons of AI compute there with their what was it? They're called their NV72, and that looks pretty cool if you're in AI stuff and building it up. The whole building it and testing it, and then disassembling it, shipping it, and building it again at that at the site that it needs it is quite impressive that they're able to do that. That I just find that might be something that goes wrong there, but it's a ton and a half, right? You can't just pick it up and ship it all the time. You gotta disassemble it again. So there's some really cool stuff that they have there. On the GPU side, though, I we'll see where these cards end up, right? That's going to be it. And keeping it at $1,000, I was with the 5080. That's pretty cool that they were able to do that for gamers. I know I'll be the first one to admit I want a cheaper graphics card. I would like it around $500. I'll do 650, fine. But if I can keep it around $1,000, that'd be great. Or $500, that'd be great. It's still $1,000, so it's still outside of what I've ever spent for a graphics card. But to me, I thought that they would have gone to the $1,600 at least, and then made the 5090, had that jump and put that 5070 Ti. But for some reason, they thought to keep it at the same price and not there. And I'm still shocked they even did that, even considered it, and more importantly, then did it, because that was one where I thought they're going to run away with the market. They are the market right now, and nobody else, even though they try to compete, they aren't competing. And I am still shocked that it's that price. We'll see. I'll have more once reviews come out. I enjoy testing these cards, but there's no way I'm just affording and buying a $2,000 graphics card, $1,000 graphics card. Spending about four grand on graphics cards. That's not going to happen. At least not yet for this channel, but it would be something I would like to test out, because we'll see. There's DLS4. I think there can be value in that in some areas. I do think, though, I still like a lot of native rendering, and I like a lot of the quality stuff. If we can still increase the quality, I like to see that from some of these companies too in the future, rather than just always hoping on the frame gen, right? Because you still have a latency penalty even if you generate the more of those frames. So with that, let me know your thoughts on the 5090, 5080, 5070 Ti, and that performance matching 4090 of the 5070. if that is something you're going to be looking at getting here and upgrading, and getting that 5090 for that $10,000 entertainment center that you have. So with that, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for helping support Graverlo and helping this channel grow. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell icon, as it really does help out the channel. Until next time, God bless.